everyone, Karen here. Today I'm going to show you 3 different methods to make a mirror image of your stamps. Now this is the most common way you'll see people, and it is with a gel press, but we're also going to do 2 others. If you've never used a gel press before, let me open this up. It is this kind of gelatin, kind of mushy thing that is non-porous, and it comes within 2 pieces of acetate. And it's kind of jiggly, and you will lay it down. Make sure you don't have any air bubbles underneath. And what you do is you take your favorite ink, and today I'm going to use the alcohol proof because I'm probably going to color this in later. So I'm going to ink this up. You just put your stamp like you normally would on any kind of stamping platform you want. Now I'm going to take this, and I'm going to use the lines here on my glass mat to kind of line it up. And you put it down. Make sure you don't move it once you put it down. And then lift straight up. And it leaves, it's really hard for you to see, it leaves the ink on there. Now we're going to take a plain piece of paper. I'm going to lay it down over the top. Now I know the end of the stamp is right here. So I'm going to put it down just about an inch. Lay it down. Make sure you don't move it. Rub it. The advantage of using the gel press is that your paper will stick to it and not slide around. So now you give the ink a moment to transfer, and you peel it back, and it all has transferred to the paper. So now you have a backwards image. So now what you can do is you can take your regular platform, you can put your paper down here, you can line up the stamp to be the other side. Here we go. Now I can pick it up. I will put a little bit more ink on there. And we'll press down just like normal. A bit more here. There we go. So now you have mirror images of your stamps. Now, if you don't have one of these gel presses, you can still do this. So let me get the gel press out of the way. Alright, the second way you can make a mirror image is using a glass mat. Now I have turned this sideways so I can keep track of where the 5x7, which is marked on here. So I'm going to ink up my flower. Now this time I am using dye ink. I didn't want to use the alcohol proof because that dries too fast and you may not get the transfer done in time. So we're going to take some paper. Now this is 6.5 by 4.5, so it's going to be kind of, like this is where I'm going to have to lay the paper down. 1/4 of an inch from the bottom and 1/4 of an inch from the sides, using the 5x7 here as a mark. So I'm going to put this down here, use the 3.5 line as my center. And I'm going to turn my flower, let's see, I probably want it about here. So put that down, press all the way around, make sure we get some good ink transfer. Pick that up. Now I'm going to take my card, lay it down 1/4 of an inch, up and over. Now this is where it's tricky. You want to make sure your paper does not slide on the glass mat. So it can. So notice I put my hand above the paper here and hanging off the paper on the bottom. So that way my hand will stick to the glass a little bit better. And that way my paper will not slide. And just rub it all around. Make sure you get all the spots because this is a one-time deal. Once you pick it up, you can't put it back down again. Alright, now we'll pick this up. And there we go. So now we'll do the same thing that I did with the flamingo. And I will ink this up again. And I will turn it this way. Press down. Pick up, and there we go. Now you have the mirror image that you can now color. Now, if you don't have a glass mat and you don't have a gel press, there's still another way I want to show you. This also works with plain acetate. So here's some plain acetate. And this piece of acetate is actually a laminator sheet. This works just as well too. Actually, that makes it nice and heavy. So I'm going to lay this down, and I know it's going to become invisible, but let's just pretend we can see it. Now I'm going to ink up the stamp. I am going to lay this down. Here again, this is a slick surface. Make sure you don't move it. You now have the pattern on there. That doesn't really show up. Now I'm going to grab the back side of my other one. I'm going to lay this down. Here again, it's a slick surface. Make sure your paper doesn't move on you. I don't think the acetate is as slick as the glass. So if you have trouble with the glass surface, you absolutely can try it on acetate. And there it is. It comes off on acetate too. And then once again, take the stamp, stamp it all up, decide where you want the other one, and voila. So that's 3 methods that you can use to get a mirror image of your stamps. So I hope you tried this, and you should have at least one of those in your crafty stash. Piece of acetate. You know, all your stamps, they all come sold on a piece of acetate. That acetate will work. Use glass mat or use the gel press. And there are a lot of other things you can do with that gel press, and maybe we'll touch upon those in the weeks ahead. If you like this, give me a thumbs up and think about subscribing to my channel. And until next time, stay crafty.